It's been said, if you want to get married, sow a seed. But God has sent Apostle Takim to tell us, if you want to get married, come into my manifest presence.
It's been said, if things are not okay with you, it's your foundation that is responsible, or some altars in your village. But God has sent his teaching prophet to tell us, if things are not okay with you, it is the foundation of the Lord that is missing in your life. The Cry of the Spirit Ministries in Nairobi presents the prophetic and apostolic teaching ministry of Richard E.S. Takim. Now, follow us to the sanctuary.
If God is not using you, you are either using you or the devil using you. There are three people there are three forces that use man. One, God. Two, Satan. Three, man. Man himself. That is why believers, our safety zone is called righteousness. We should always seek the Lord. Father, let my moral life align. That should be your prayer. In those days, our fathers used to spend every week in fasting and prayer just to work on their moral life. I mean every week. I'm not saying every month. Every week. There are days, there were days they dedicated to God to fast and pray to keep their morality aligned. Because moral nature is a sensitive thing in the spirit realm. It's like a SIM card that picks signals. A SIM card makes the phone active. And today, what is bigger than SIM card is now internet. Once you buy your smartphone, so long as you can connect Wi-Fi, it comes alive. There may be no SIM card in it. Is somebody hearing me? You are already on social media. That is how the spirit realm is. So if our moral nature are not aligned with God's kingdom, then another kingdom can use us. Especially in this end time that the devil is doing more wickedly. So a believer must always pray, Lord, let my moral nature align. Then you begin to sow to please the spirit, so that you will not reap corruption. The question is, when the Bible says, when you sow to please the flesh, you reap corruption. Where do you reap it? In your moral nature. Can I show you something? Who has something like a purse or a bag that is empty? Okay, let me use this mic up. Let's assume this is our heart, because the heart is the seat of the moral life. This is our heart. When you sow to please the flesh, you put it here. Seed time. You sow to please the flesh. And I say, you shall of the flesh reap what? Corruption. So what you have put in your heart will corrupt the camp. It will corrupt your moral nature. So what we imbibe into our spirit is what determines our moral nature. Is someone hearing me? That is why the Bible says this book of the law should not depart out of it. That shall meditate in when day in and day out, that you may observe to do. So Psalm 1 says, well, blessed is he who sit not in the counsel of the ungodly. Because when you sit under the influence of the ungodly, it corrupts your heart. It corrupts. It's a seed sown into the heart. Whatever is sown into the heart will define the moral nature. Is someone hearing me? Whatever we sow into our hearts will define our moral nature. So blessed is he who does not sit in the counsel of the godly. Because when you sit there, you put something in your heart, or stand in the ways of sinner. When you stand there, you put something in your heart. That does not work in the counsel of the godly. When you walk, you put something in your heart. When you stand in the ways of sinner, you put something in your heart. When you sit in the seat of mockers, you put something in your heart. What is the seat of mockers? A people who laugh at purity. They laughed at righteousness. They laughed at moral standard. When they see a moral standard, they call you Deputy Jesus. When people look at you, when you are correcting things and they say you are Deputy Jesus, they are sitting on the seat of mockers. They are mocking you. And when you join them calling the righteous Deputy Jesus, you are sowing to please the flesh. The Bible says, of the flesh you will reap what? Corruption. What is it that corrupts us when we mock at righteousness? The spirit of lawlessness corrupts our heart. Once the spirit of lawlessness has corrupted your heart, your moral nature has been tainted. It will become dark. at that point, you begin to treat wrong as right. You will never know what is right again. You begin to accept what is wrong as right. And you begin to see what is right as a threat. Someone hearing me? You begin to see what is right as what? A threat. You begin to fight it, resist it, call it an enemy. Because the heart has become corrupt. The moral nature has been tainted. So to change our moral nature, we must guard our heart with all diligence. For out of it spring the issues of life. It is what you put in that determines your morality. What you put into your spirit. Is someone hearing me? So if you look at, for this purpose God raised Pharaoh. The same thing was, I think, Romans. Paul took this from Exodus chapter 9, verse 16. Repeated the same thing. Moses told Pharaoh, you were raised for this purpose, to be destroyed. Why did God raise Pharaoh to be destroyed? Because he already had a moral nature that is destroyed. He already had a corrupt moral nature. So your moral nature will determine which kingdom will use you and for what. Is someone hearing me? That's how when God wants to use you, he works on it. He fixes your attention on it. God will not fix your attention on you getting anointed. Anointing is free. He will fix your attention on getting the moral nature to carry the anointing. If you want God to use you, please submit your moral life to him so that he can align you. Who God has not aligned, God cannot use. Is someone hearing me? If there is still lust, if there is still pride, our moral nature has not aligned. If there is still lust, if there is still pride, if there is still envy, jealousy, if there is still covetousness, our moral nature is not aligned at all. If there is still anger and bitterness, it has not aligned. If there is still unforgiveness, it has not aligned. If there is still carnal cravings, it has not aligned. It has not aligned. You are still craving for that. You are still craving for this. It has not aligned. The church is so sick. You see, when God was speaking to about this issue of moral nature, I look at it. I've met a lot of people in life. So my mind went into the global church itself. I said to myself, isn't that what we're supposed to be preaching as preachers every day? That when you tune television, you see it. This preacher come and repeat it. The other one come and repeat it. If all of us on earth are saying it, we're going to make this earth too hot for the devil. Because the real thing that is killing the church is our moral life. And nobody is emphasizing on it. Our attention is on demons, altars, evil pattern. Why you are not yet married? We are looking for things that are not lost. Things that our moral lives are preventing from happening. Is someone hearing what I'm saying? Are you understanding me? So you can see Joseph, destiny was controlled by his morality. God fixed his moral life and destiny was released. Is someone hearing me? We can see Pharaoh. God was looking for somebody in the ancient world to show how Satan looked like. Egypt represented the world. Pharaoh represented Satan. Israel in Egypt represent man under the influence of Satan. That is all. If you look at all of them, let's say it's a movie. Egypt, the environment, is the lost world. It's the kingdom of darkness. What did the Bible say in the book of Colossians and Ephesians? It said we have been translated from where? The kingdom of darkness. So Egypt was God showing to the whole world, this is how the kingdom of darkness look like. Now you ask yourself, why did Egypt qualify itself for such thing? Because Egypt was the headquarters of occultism. It was a base for all kinds of immorality and wickedness. And God now says, since you have chosen to be a base of darkness, I will use you to show to the world how the kingdom of darkness look like. In the same way, if God wants to show to the world how Jesus looked like, he looked for people to form Christ in them. That is why Paul, one of his missions is to raise a people that will show to the world how Jesus looked like. That's why I say, my little children which are travailing back until Christ is formed in you. You get my point? Are you understanding me? I wish I have time to talk about the end time spiritual warfare, how everything is all around. the devil trying to raise people to show to the world how it look like, and God trying to raise people to show to the world. That's the meaning of the mystery of godliness and the mystery of wickedness. That's what it is. The mystery of wickedness is Satan raising his own people. These are my beloved sons, in whom I am well pleased. And the mystery of godliness is God raising his own people also. These are my beloved sons, in whom I am well pleased. So that is the battle happening in the spirit realm. So the moral nature you allow to remain in you is what determines where you belong. Jesus told the Pharisee, you are of your father what? The devil. Because that's the nature you have. But if you look at the conversation, they began by saying they belong to Abraham. They now say they belong to God. I say, no. Your moral nature is what defines your identity, not your mouth, not your confession. Bless you. I am highly favored. I am son of God. No. It's not the mouth. That's what the book of Titus say. They confess that they know him, but by their character, they do what? They deny him. Your moral nature can betray your confessions. Your moral nature can betray your confessions. That's why as believers, our focus is not on the devil, it's on us. Because the devil has been destroyed. Jesus destroyed him with his death. So he should not have an issue in our life. Whenever you see Satan perambulating in your house, don't ask him, what are you doing here? Ask yourself, what did I have here that he has come? What do I have in my life that has brought him? As soon as you check your life, you don't see what you have. You're not asking, what are you doing here? Because if you ask him, what are you doing here? And what you have in you is what's brought him. While you are asking him, the first thing he will say, he will not even answer, he will look for a seat to sit down. Or enter your kitchen and begin to look for food. What did the Bible say? The Bible condemned the devil to eat dust. Revelation chapter 3. It says you shall eat dust all your life. So what is dust? The works of the flesh. What's the works of the flesh? It's a product of the moral nature that is sick. So when you have the works of the flesh and the devil came in and he's not feeding on it, look at what the devil have done to the church. The works of the flesh bring it to our houses. He's feeding on us and we are being pointed to evil altar, evil foundation. Our brothers, our fathers, our mothers, yes, they may not be born again. Yes, they may be behaving like bats and witches, but they are not the one. You are the one who led them. If there is no dust in your life, there will be no demon in your life. That's the Bible. Any demon will come when you have no dust. One rebuke. What did Jesus do to the devil? He said, Satan, I rebuke you. And the Bible said, and the devil left him. It's not a demon. The devil himself, he left him. And Jesus looked up one day and said, the prince of this world cometh, but he has nothing in me. Your moral nature is what determines how close or how far Satan is to you. It's very important for believers to wake up to this truth. That's what the Bible says, draw near to God and he will draw near to you. Purify yourself, you double-minded, you sinners. That means let me work on your moral nature and demons will leave you alone. Is somebody hearing me? So our destiny and the miracles we're going to see in life and our morality, they are all connected. They are all what? They are all connected. Write this down. Every journey into greatness in God, every journey into greatness in God will either be promoted or sabotaged by our moral nature. Every journey into greatness in God, it could be blessings, it could be anything. Every journey into greatness in God will either be promoted or sabotaged by our moral nature. Your destiny could be great. We used to sing colorful and bright, I will get there. Yes, it's good to sing those songs to boost your faith. But if your moral life is not your attention, no matter how you sing, you can never get there. We should not lose our focus on our morality, my friend. Because the early church never did. They were always fixing their mind on their morality, not on demons. That's why you see in the Bible, the church in the book of Acts is different from the one we have today on earth. Very different. Even the preaching, even their emphasis. Do you see evil altar? Do you see raising of altar? Do you see silencing of altar? The emphasis was on morality, righteousness, righteousness. Christ in you, righteousness, Christ in you. That was the look at what Paul wrote to the church in Corinth, the 2 letters. He said, if you find any brother among you who is not morally right, don't even eat with him. John will say, if you find anybody who did not bring the doctrine of Christ, don't even eat with them, don't greet them, because the doctrine of Christ fixes your morality. Other doctrines fix other things. The doctrine of Christ fixes our morality, but other doctrines fix other things. False doctrines will want to fix your marriage and live your moral life. False doctrine, they want to fix your marriage, they want to fix your money, they want to fix other things, but they don't talk about your morality. They will say it's our weakness. They call a sick moral life weakness, and they allow it to grow and fester until it destroys the person, and the person becomes a hellfire candidate with the Bible in his hands. May that not be our portion in the name of Jesus. So look at 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Let's just run through the story and see the connection between our morality and our destination. No matter how glorious our destination is, if our morality is wrong, we cannot arrive there. We will ruin everything. We will ruin the blessings, we will ruin the opportunities, we will ruin the grace. Morality can ruin your favor. If your moral life is not intact, it can ruin your favor. It can ruin God's grace upon your life. It can ruin God's mercy in your life. It can ruin the blessings that God has given you. It can ruin everything. Everything. Morality, if it's not right, is more terrible than demons. Demons are called unclean spirits, is that not? And the Bible says, when God removes unclean spirit out of your life, and there are unclean things in your life, the spirit will come back. That is the meaning of when the unclean spirit leaves a man, he go looking for rest. If you find out, he come back to this house. That is why, for me, in the apostolic, the emphasis are not actually, the emphasis of the apostolic, which is in the Bible, is not actually on unclean spirit, it's on unclean things. Because once the unclean things leave, unclean spirit follow. Unclean spirit cannot remain where unclean things have been eliminated. It can't remain. So in the apostolic, focus is the unclean thing, unclean habit, unclean speech, unclean desires, unclean passions, unclean visions, unclean drives, unclean prayer, unclean pastors, unclean churches. Whatever is unclean, the apostolic beams on it to eliminate it. Once it goes, demons goes, and God's people live in peace. Is somebody hearing me? When Jesus said, come unto me, all ye that labor, and I will give you rest. Did he say, I will cast out the demons? He said, no, come unto me, all ye that labor, I will give you rest. He now said, take my yoke upon you, and do what? Learn. Learning changes our moral life. Learn. We'll get there later. But let me show you some things here. Let's just read 1 Corinthians chapter 10 from verse 1. We'll read the 13 verses. Moreover, brethren, I do not want you to be unaware that all our fathers were under the cloud, all passed through the sea, all were baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea, all ate the same spiritual food, and all drank the same spiritual drink. You can see what God did. He brought these guys out of Egypt, the kingdom of darkness. He brought them out, but Egypt was still in them. He brought them out of the unclean kingdom, but the unclean things were still in them. So what was the vision? Let me show them mercy. In this one, God credited their account with mercy, hoping that they will use it to live right. So he brought them out of an unclean system, but they were still having unclean things within them. So he now crossed the Red Sea with them, which represent baptism, declaring to Egypt, I have left you. Declaring to the world, I'm no longer with you. The next stop was Mount Sinai. Why? To remove the unclean things. Being taken from unclean realm and unclean people is called salvation. And unclean things being taken from you is called sanctification. So there's salvation, there's sanctification or transformation, and there's transfiguration. So in another word, let's make it this way. Wait, before you write. being taken from unclean things, from unclean places, unclean realm, is through translation. So write translation, which is salvation. Translation results in salvation. So in the outer court, we are translated. In the outer court, we are translated. In the holy place, we are transformed. This is where the church needs to go to. Remember, the church is not in the outer court. The true church is where? In the holy place. But if you look at the character of Christians today, everybody is still in the outer court, translated, but not transformed. We have been translated from the kingdom of darkness. That is the emphasis of the evangelist. The evangelist emphasized on you being translated from the kingdom of darkness. The apostles and prophets emphasized on you being transformed. You being translated and transformed. Evangelist is you being translated without transformed, and they certify you safe, which is very wrong. So if you look at Israel came out of Egypt translated, and when they got to Sinai, God wanted to now transform them. That's why he appeared in his glory and mounted on Sinai. And the dimensions of transformation that will have happened, they resisted it. I want to submit to you that when Israel said the noise was too much, what was really the problem was not in the physical realm, it was in the spiritual realm. Are you understand what I'm saying? The Bible says, even Hebrew confirmed it, that they could not withstand the sound of the trumpet. You now ask yourself, Moses was not a spirit, he was also a human being. Why is it that the rest of Israel could not withstand what Moses withstood? Moses even went there and meet the source of the trumpet. And do not forget, the closer you go, the louder. Why was Moses able to withstand the sound of the trumpet? Despite how they saw him, God spoke to him face to face, so he was closer to the sound. His eardrum supposed to break. For you to know that it wasn't a physical reaction. God will not destroy the eardrum of his people. He knows the capacity of our ears. So he will not release a sound to destroy your eardrum. So they were not affected by the eardrum. It was the reaction of their spirit nature to the presence. That was what happened on Mount Sinai. He wanted to transform them. Is somebody hearing me? He wanted to transform them. I submit to you that what happened in Mount Sinai was exactly what happened in the upper room. The same impact, but these guys could withstand it because of a shift. And even in church, the same impact. That is why it transformed your moral nature. God came to transform them. But look at what happened. The Egyptian dimensions in them reacted against the heavenly dimension that came. And they told Moses, we can't stand. So it was an internal war they faced. Paul would define it this way: as the spirit lusting after the flesh, and the flesh after the spirit, and he said you cannot do what you want. That's the way he captured it. But what really happened, it was an internal reaction for everybody, including the children. But they didn't ask themselves, why is it that we cannot withstand what Moses is withstanding? So the problem is not the sound, it's not the trumpet, it's not the descending of God on Mount Sinai. The problem is us. That is why whenever you point your problem to the environment, while the problem is inside you, there will be no solution. You will prescribe things that will not solve your problem. Whatever they blame on evil altar is actually inside people. That's why they have broken and broken. Things remain broken. Why the pastors are encouraging the breaking and the raising of altar? Because they are getting rich. Let's say that teaching was not giving pastors money, it would have been buried. Let's say the whole altar raising Christian now realize, say, pastor, raise it by faith, no money again. They will stop preaching it. Is someone hearing me? But the painful part of this thing is that while the sheep of the master have been exploited and destroyed, them are smiling to the bank, and they are not even solving the problem. So God brought them to Mount Sinai to transform them, but they could not withstand the rigors of transformation. Listen, when God is transforming you, He breaks you down.